Hello, in this Tech Tuesday session, we will learn about Books That Grow. Books That Grow is a really awesome site that works on iPad, on tablets, smartphones, I believe, and also on our Mac computers. And it's really a good way for you to differentiate learning for your students. So we're going to hop right on into it and walk through it. And I'm new to it as well, so there might be some mistakes along the way, but we'll deal with those. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. The first thing we'll need to do is to open up our internet browser, and we're just going to type in Books That Grow. Click enter. You're going to see right here, Books That Grow, Leveled Reading for the Digital Age, and we'll click on that. Now, if you have not already signed up for a free account, this is what you'll need to do. And I'm going to walk you first through the teacher sign up, and the second I'll walk you through a student sign up. So now that we've clicked there to get our free account, we'll click on teacher. So you type in your school name, and because I've done this before, it's up there. And type in your information that it asks for. And I'm thinking they're going to tell me I'm already registered, but I'm going to walk you through the steps anyway. Pick out what username, pick out what username you want and your password. That's the hardest thing, remembering what password you use, and then click on register. And this is telling me, yes, I've already registered for this account, so I would go back to where I would log in. But you can kind of see how that would go. And here comes the dreaded remembering what your password is. All right, there we go. Now we are in, and you should see something like this. Well, one thing we want to do for sure is set up our classes. So we're going to come in and, well, let's first off just take a look at a couple of things. So we've got this icon right up here, and that's where you can share Books That Grow with other teachers. Then we have here these little books, and this is where you can go through and look for books according to grade level from 1st to 12th grade, or you can look at grade levels here. You can also do a search for books right over here. You can see that you have all sorts of different books to choose from, and you can add books into your favorites. You can also look for biographies, classic fiction, folktales, miscellaneous, primary source documents, science, and social studies. Next, we have this icon where we can monitor our classrooms. And so I've already created a classroom here, but let me walk you through the steps of how to do that. To create a classroom, you just click on that button with the plus sign, and you would name your classroom. And so I'm going to call this Tech Tuesday Example. Now, if you already had some students who had signed up with Books That Grow, you would see their names here, and then you can add them in. But that's not necessary. There are other ways that we can invite students. We're just going to click Create. And it's going to just take a minute to create that class. And so now we're going to see here that this Tech Tuesday example, there's 0 students signed up for it because we just made it. We can email out this information. We could copy the sign-up code. We could edit this classroom or throw it away if we need to. But what we want right here is this sign-up code. And notice when we hover over this, we get a little message from Books That Grow saying give the sign-up code to your students and ask them to register at their website. When they use this code to register, they'll be automatically added to this classroom. So that keeps you from having to go in and find all the kids' names and having to transfer their information over. So I'm going to write down that code so that then I can give that to my students. Now when I click on this, I can come in and I can add a book that I want my students to read. And so I already decided that I wanted them to read this book right here, and I'm going to update that classroom. And now that book's there. Or you could go out to the library and look for a book. And so let's say, for instance, that I'm looking for a book that's on a 4th grade reading level. And we're doing a folktale unit, so I want a folktale. And I'm going to come in here and put in here, let's make sure it's from a 3rd grade to about a 6th grade reading interest level. And remember, we're going to say we want it to be a 4th grade reading level as well. Oh, well, it won't let us do both. You have to pick one or the other. Okay, good to know. This is how we learn. So we can come under here and see, oh, I bet you somebody would like Dracula's Best. And notice we have more pages to go to. Or we can click down here, View All. I'm going to want to look at View All. And so now I can quickly just scroll through, and I love this because I can kind of see all the books that are there, what it is, and look for a book that my students might like. Ooh, look at this one. Is your brain being controlled by a parasite? That might be a good one. So I'm just going to click on this. And it's going to give me the interest levels and what reading levels this is, and a brief rundown of the book. And if I like this, then I can go back and add that to my favorites. All right. Then I can come back into my classroom. And I can add that other book that I just added to my favorites and update my classroom. And I might have to refresh to see that come through. And it's just being on right now. So let's see. Oh, there it is. I had to click on that little button. Currently reading, currently reading. And again, here's a teacher's guide. This is another really cool thing, is this teacher's guide. So I have that book, and now I'm given a teacher's guide. So it walks me through information about the story, tells me what the Common Core standards are within the story, gives me some tips for before reading, during reading, after reading, connections in text, and then further reading. How can I bring this even more to life? And I love that they give you some websites here with video lessons, different things for students. Here's a great YouTube link. Gives you some vocabulary challenges that you can use. And these might be really great to put into something like a Kahoot for your kids. Again, you have a place for About This Book. And then also, if you want this teacher guide information in PDF, you can, of course, download it as a PDF. So that's really cool. I love that they have that information there for our teachers. And so right here, I can either open the book, assign the book, or remove this book. And I'm going to just go ahead and assign that book. And I'm going to assign it to that Tech Tuesday example class. I could assign it to both classes or any classes I have here, but I can choose which class I want. So now that I have that, let's check it. Okay. And, oh, it's saying, hey, you already assigned that. That's why it's checked. So if it wasn't checked, then you do that and click OK. So now what we're going to do, and we can click right here, and we can look at all of our classes. We can look by book, find out information by book, and also by student. And right now there's no student assigned. And then down here we're just going to click Save, just because it's there and we want to make sure. So now I'm going to log out. I'm going to say, yes, I'm sure I want to log out. And we want to now go back to that point where we're going to register again. We've never registered before, and we want to register again. So this time we're going to register as a student. And we're going to tell our students, do you have a sign-up code? Well, we're going to tell them yes, because we created that class already, and we wrote down that sign-up code for our class. So we're going to tell our students to click yes and to enter that sign-up code. So the sign-up code for our Tech Tuesday example was lowercase d, u, g, 8p. Notice it recognized that this is Elkmont High School. So we're going to come in, and I'm just going to put John Doe. And the email address I will put in, dpi.LivingstonCountySchools.K12.org, because that's the ending for our emails. John Doe, and password. Oops. Password should be their 4-digit code that they use for everything else. And now we're going to register the student. Oh, and it's telling me the password should be at least 5 characters long. So when we do that, we just type in our password twice. Same password twice. Now, registering. Oh, somebody's taken the name John Doe. So we're going to say John C. Doe. Might have to put that middle initial in there. There we go. You can save the password if your students are doing this and this is on their own computer. I would definitely say save password. But since this is on my computer, I'm not going to save that password now. And now it has successfully registered our student. So now we're in here as John Doe, and it's going to walk him through the different things he can do. He can browse by different categories. He can look at all books. He can look at the assigned books that his teachers assigned to him. And he can look in the menu to access different things. So let's open up this book about the parasite. And so he can see that right here gives him a little explanation, and he can click on open. So now John has opened this book, and it's showing him what his reading level is. It says you can currently see that what you're currently reading at and adjust it accordingly. So we're going to go ahead and say okay, next. And this is the cool thing because it will adjust their reading levels according to how they're performing. So we come under here and we can read. We can also come in and we can change the size of the font if we need to change it. We have settings. There needs to be a new sign-up code if they have more than one teacher that's doing this with them. We can get out of a class if we're already in one. And here's those books again. So I'm going to open up this Anasazi. There we go. And so again, I can come through and read. And also I can bring up this information as well. And go through and read the story. Now my understanding is at a certain point during the story is that different questions will be asked to determine the student's comprehension of the story itself, and that from there their lexile level will be either upped or lowered or stay the same depending on how they are performing on those evaluations. So I'm going to log out as that student. I'm going to come back in and log in as the teacher again. And now if I come up over here, I can see that there's one student who has signed up for my class. I can see that this student right here has finished reading this story. And I can see that that student finished reading this story as well. So I can see which students have not started, or have finished those stories. And then I can add a book if I need to. So that information is right there, ready and available for me to use. All right. If you have any other questions, I would encourage you. Oh, this is good. Now that the student is in here, and we had to have the student in here before, we can either automatically assign, and that one's coming soon, or manually assign what level we want them to be on. So if we know that they're reading on a 4th grade level, then we can put them on that 4th grade level. Allow student overrides. That's up to you as the teacher. I might put no so that you can monitor what they're reading and in what level they're reading. But again, that's all up to you. And you can do that for each one of your students and then make sure to click on save. All right, and there we go. I would encourage you, however, to come out and watch. So we go to Books That Grow. So for more information about Books That Grow, and the information is I would definitely come out and look at the information that they have here. You see that it's available in the Chrome App Store, or you can download other apps. Make sure that you come in, and there are usually videos in here, but notice right here that it says it supports all types of learners, so that each student in the class can be reading the same exact book, but be reading at different reading levels. And that's a great way, again, that you can go ahead and allow for differentiated learning. This was started through a Kickstarter campaign, and Kickstarter does have some really great startups that you might want to know about and look at. And if I'm not mistaken, I think there might be a video on this page about and I keep looking for it to go, and about this project. I know I saw a video somewhere, so I might want to actually click on video. Okay, here we go. Introducing Books That Grow. Let's take a look at this real quick.
We'd like you to meet Johnny and Timmy. They are best friends in the same class, but they can't read together. Johnny is struggling to keep up with the rest of the class, but Timmy is a fast reader, so he gets bored. Johnny feels ashamed because Miss Levy gave him a special book for struggling readers. Miss Levy is overwhelmed planning different lessons for the same class. But today, Miss Levy's class was introduced to Books That Grow from Born Digital. These books adapt to a student's reading ability. Johnny and Timmy read from tablet devices. They answer questions at the end of the chapter. Johnny doesn't know how to answer some of them, so the next chapter has easier text and bigger letters. Timmy got it right, so his next chapter is more challenging. The text is denser and contains some new words. He can look up word meanings while he's reading or take notes. In the meantime, Miss Levy receives the data on her computer. She can see the students' replies and help them when they struggle. The class can have a discussion together because they were all reading the same book. Now Johnny and Timmy can read together and learn together. We are Born Digital, and we make books for digital natives.
So I hope that that gave you a little more insight as to how Books That Grow works. If you need any assistance with setting up an account for your class for Books That Grow, just holler. You know that I'm always available during any of your planning periods or after school. I'll be more than happy to walk you through those steps. So thank you very much. Hope this gave you some good insight on Books That Grow.